From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Even in a tight budget situation, we continue to leave our footprints in the sands of times.
I believe that you have earned the right to flexibility that you've requested in your budgets. You proved you can do it.
UNC Board of Governors Chairman Benjamin Ruffin and Governor Mike Easley speaking about additional budget cuts affecting the universities across the state. Good evening. I'm Brigida Mack. Thanks for joining us for the October 17th edition of Carolina Week.
And I'm Tim Nelson. We're proud to be bringing you coverage of Carolina news and events. More about the budget in a moment. But first, one construction worker remains in serious condition at UNC hospitals as of midweek after a fire blazing more than 100 feet high broke out Tuesday night.
I heard an explosion and I saw people running everywhere.
The fire began about 9 p.m. when a backhoe operator digging for a water main accidentally hit a gas main. The intersection of Franklin Street and Estes Drive burst into flames.
Just real loud, like just a big boom.
Joseph Roseborough was working at the Texaco gas station just yards from the scene.
We all just scattered and went our separate ways. I don't know if they even hung up the gas pumps or what.
The worker operating the backhoe suffered severe burns, and a pickup truck was damaged, its driver barely escaping injury. Traffic was stopped and power was cut throughout most of Chapel Hill as workers from the gas company PSNC Energy dug a ditch and worked to shut off valves going to the ruptured main. Chapel Hill and Carrboro Fire Department crews couldn't fight the fire full force and had to let the gas burn itself away.
We don't want to put the fire out. If we did that, we would have gas flowing all over the place uncontrolled.
They did control it, and the fire was out by 11 p.m. Duke Power officials say power was restored in most places by 4 in the morning. Crews stayed at the scene through the night, working Wednesday morning to get traffic flow back to normal and cleaning up the mess. Crews continue to rewire some traffic lights affected by the fire. Fire department officials say they're not sure when the intersection will be back to normal.
The state budget was on the minds of those who attended University Day. That's because the budget is in the red, and legislators are looking to the university to pick up some of the slack. Carolina Week's Nicole Brusick joins us now to tell us how our campus will be affected. Nicole?
Brigida, because of the statewide budget shortfall, Governor Easley is asking the university to give back $16 million. Losing that much money means the university won't be able to repair leaky roofs, cracking paint, and old windows. It also means layoffs and fewer classes in the spring.
Not because the state or the governor are trying to be mean to the university. I think it's just in the numbers that the budget is not healthy for the state right now.
Provost Robert Shelton knows the new budget cut will hurt Carolina. But with both the national and state economy in a slump, he understands why the state has turned to the university to reach a balance. UNC Chapel Hill Chancellor James Measer says despite the budget cut, Governor Easley is still mindful of Carolina.
And I know he will do his best to protect us, but the arithmetic is just not there. If the revenues are not there, what is the state going to do?
What the state is going to do is hit the university with its second budget cut this year. The state already cut UNC's budget 3% or $10 million permanently. Now this 4% cut drains the university budget by another $16 million for just this fiscal year. Carolina also won't get nearly $12 million for repairs and renovations. The university did get nearly that much for an enrollment increase, but this funding won't directly offset the cuts because a growing student body means more money will be needed for services and supplies. Associate Vice Chancellor Bruce Runberg manages facilities, planning, and construction on campus, and his departments will get hit hard by the cuts.
We've reached a point where you can't easily cut. You're down to the bone.
In addition to putting repair projects on hold, the university won't have money to add disability facilities such as automatic doors and wheelchair ramps.
If you think about your own house, well, I don't need to replace the screen door, or I can wait another year before I paint. And maybe you can get by with that for 1 year or 2 years, but the accumulation can be devastating.
The provost says the university will lay off faculty and staff, hire fewer housekeepers, and have only one 911 dispatcher at night. Tim?
Thanks, Nicole. Well, Carolina athletics won't be affected by all the budget cuts. UNC Chapel Hill and Nike agreed this week to an 8-year contract worth more than $28 million. That's $10 million worth of Nike products for Carolina's teams and another $10 million for selected head coaches, travel, and several other programs. As part of the contract, the university will also hold Nike to stricter labor standards, requiring the company to disclose where it makes Carolina's game uniforms. Chancellor James Measer says the contract helps keep athletics safe from the shrinking budget.
We're not talking about, in a moment when we're talking about potentially $26 million in budget cuts from the state of North Carolina, having to shift even further resources over to maintain 28 programs, or talking about eliminating programs, as many universities have done.
This is the third contract the university has signed with Nike. The hunt for jobs is already underway for many seniors at UNC Chapel Hill. Carolina Week's Michelle Muscatello is working on this story, and she joins us now. Michelle, what's the job market looking like for graduating students? I'm a senior. Should I be worried?
Well, it is going to be tougher for you and me and other graduating seniors to find a job. The economy and many businesses were hit hard by the September 11th terrorist attacks, and job offers will be harder to come by. The economy was already turning against students getting ready to enter the job market. But after the attacks on the World Trade Center and Pentagon and new war, the thought of finding work after graduation is frightening for seniors. Many employers have canceled interviews and information sessions at Carolina for the fall, and Career Services Director Marcia Harris says she doesn't know if they'll reschedule. So students have to face the fact job options are more limited than they've been in years.
Some employers, like Accenture, that used to hire maybe 25 of our students a year, this year we would be lucky if they hired 2 or 3.
Harris says students need to be flexible and more proactive in their job search.
Thanks a lot, Michelle. Donations continue to flow into September 11th relief projects across the country. Now, a group of MBA students here at UNC Chapel Hill is hoping we'll all buy into a new idea and share what we can. The program is called Buy a Share for America. The idea is to fundraise throughout the U.S. and invest all the money in New York Stock Exchange companies. The money will be pulled out of the stock market when profit has been maximized and donated to victims of the terrorist attacks. More than a dozen business schools from Harvard to UCLA have signed on with Carolina to participate. Buy a Share founder Kevin Freeman says the program will help in more ways than one.
Buy a Share for America has a twofold benefit. For every dollar you donate, we are helping to prop the market up, and the benefit of that dollar also goes to help a social cause.
Freeman says he expects fundraising to be in full force by early November.
A nationwide anthrax scare is leaving many people wary of opening the mail. There haven't been any confirmed cases in North Carolina, but here at UNC Chapel Hill, safety officials are urging employees to be cautious when opening mail. They say be careful with anything postmarked from any Florida locations. Items marked personal or confidential, unusually shaped mail or packages, or mail or packages that are stained, or mail or packages with no return address.
Well, there's lots more to come on Carolina Week.
Each year, thousands of people hit the state fair for good food and plenty of fun. I'll take you there and show you why.
And I'm Regina Willis, live in the newsroom. University officials are taking extra steps to make sure the people they're hiring are reliable. That story after the break.
I think you should wear a tie.
Dad, nobody wears ties to school.
Tie says you're serious. It'll make a good impression. And remember, you're there to study,
to learn, and to make something of myself. I got it.
Almost half of all UNCF students are the first in their family to go to college.
They have some great architecture classes.
Dad, I'm not really interested in architecture.
Well, keep your options open. And remember, no girls until your
my work is done.
And I'd make sure that I got my lunch.
Dad, you're not going. I am.
I know.
Listen, we better get going. Don't want to be late the first day in.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're the first to go, you're going for a lot of people. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Welcome back to Carolina Week.
Regina Willis is in the newsroom and tells us the budget isn't the only priority on campus. Regina.
University officials want to make campus safe for everyone, but several employees have been arrested this year, one for assault on a female student. That incident could have been avoided if officials had done a criminal conviction check on the employee when he applied. The university is changing its policy. Criminal conviction checks are now required for almost every person who applies to work at the university. Investigators will check records from all North Carolina counties the person has lived or worked in. Many current employees support the idea.
I would think it would make people feel a lot more safe that people would be investigated a little bit further on their background.
Captain Danny Caldwell says the university was checking only those applying for positions of trust, those involving access to cash, keys, or student records.
That we did a position of trust include all positions because we figure position of trust is all positions.
He screened more than 2,600 applicants this year. 40% had a criminal record. The policy doesn't require checks for services the university contracts out, but the largest contractor on campus, Carolina Dining Service, already makes criminal conviction checks mandatory. Current university employees will have to have a check performed only if they change positions. Checks aren't done on faculty or students. But I did let Captain Walker do a criminal check on me, and he found a ticket for an expired plate. He says traffic violations can usually slide, but if an applicant has a misdemeanor or felony in North Carolina, Walker will go to that county personally and pick up the certified copy of the person's record. Anyone who lies about his or her criminal record will not be hired, but admitting to minor offenses won't automatically disqualify the applicant. The university may hire up to 5 more investigators to perform the background checks. Caldwell says it's money well spent.
Is your life worth the money? Your safety? Could you put a cost on sleeping a night on campus, walking through campus, working at campus?
Right now, investigators can check records outside the state only when requested because of certain laws and the expense. But they hope to be able to change that soon. Brigida?
Thanks, Regina. In this week's Speak Out segment, we asked students if they support more thorough background checks of employees.
I think it will make me feel safer. I've never really felt unsafe, but I think as long as the school feels like it's necessary, then I'm for it.
Well, due to the recent incidents in Lenoir, I think background checks would be good, being that, one employee brought a gun, so it would be nice to know if they have a record or not.
I think it will, because in light of recent incidents in the cafeteria, I think it's something that's necessary now. It's just an extra precaution to keep students safe on campus, so why not,
There's so many people here that are exposed to all the employees. I think just for student safety, it's important to have background checks because we come in such close contact with these people.
Our sample isn't scientific and shouldn't be taken as a reflection of widespread opinion on campus.
Many UNC Chapel Hill students register for classes on the web, but more and more, the web is replacing the classroom. The Friday Center for Continuing Education offers introductory and required courses entirely online for anyone. The web format provides flexibility and independent learning, but that comes at a cost of lost time in classroom and in classroom interaction. For more information, visit Carolina Week's website at www.carolinaweek.org. And the senior class is planning a memorial honoring African Americans who helped construct the first buildings on the UNC Chapel Hill campus. Seniors voted last week to make the Unsung Founders Memorial the 2002 senior gift. The memorial was chosen over the Memorial Hall marquee and the need-based scholarship. As an additional gift, the senior class will plant a tree on campus with a plaque honoring those Carolina alumni who died in the September 11th attacks.
Finally, some normal fall weather.
Carolina Week's Kelly Mahoney joins us now. Kelly, is the weather going to stick around?
Yeah, well, despite a 10-degree temperature drop over the last couple of days, the sunshine and seasonable weather will be hanging with us for most of the weekend, so that's great. I'll let you know more about the weekend forecast in just a second, but first let's take a look at this week's weather question. Frost forms when? Your choices are when dew freezes, crops die, water vapor forms ice crystals, or when low pressure systems approach. The answer to the weather question and your weekend forecast are coming up just after the break.
It's great that the Salvation Army does so much for the needy during the holiday season.
But you know that isn't all the Salvation Army does. They also run Boys and Girls Clubs.
They also provide relief for those who need it after natural disasters.
And they help the homeless by providing temporary relief and shelter.
They even run summer
camp for low-income children.
Need has no season. Please help the Salvation Army help others.
Escucha Smokey antes de tratar.
Solo tú.
No juegues con fósforos, no juegues con fuego. No hay nada perturbable con el asustado a un pobre ratón sin casa en que vivir. Si el hermoso bosque es lo que deseas, no juegues con fósforos, no juegues con fuego.
Solo tú puedes prevenir los fuegos forestales.
¡Fuego!
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. Well, sunny skies and very fall-like weather are providing the perfect environment for fall break packing and departure. While a frost advisory has been issued for Tuesday night and Wednesday night, the rest of the forecast promises weather that will cooperate with nearly all fall break plans. While our daytime weather may not be too interesting for the next couple of days, the nighttime sky could prove very interesting in coming weeks. Upcoming events that you might want to take note of include the Orionid meteor shower on October the 21st through the 22nd, the blue moon on October 31st, Halloween night. On November 18th, there'll be a Leonid meteor shower, which experts predict will be the most dramatic meteor shower in over 35 years and will be very well visible from our latitudes. And finally, on November the 30th, the second blue moon in consecutive months, making that a very rare event and something worth taking note of. All right, well, let's take a look at current weather. We can peek at the satellite map, and you can see the cold front that just got ushered off the North Carolina coast that is well out to sea by now and has stopped impacting our weather. And filling in behind it is that cool, crisp Canadian air that's really starting to set us up for wintertime weather. Luckily, we've got a few more weeks until that really sets in. But let's take a look at what's going on the surface map and see what's in our forecast for the next couple of days. All right, we've got a cold front that did push off the coast, and here's the high pressure system sitting in behind it. This is going to be what controls our weather well throughout the weekend. So what does that mean for the Carolina Week 4-day forecast and your fall break? Well, on Friday, we see a high of 70 degrees, partly cloudy skies. On Saturday, it'll warm up to about 74 degrees, and mostly sunny skies continue through the weekend, through Sunday and Monday, with highs holding in about in the mid-70s. So that'll be nice. Now, if your fall break plans include a trip down to the beach, it'll be a little bit warmer down there as well, with mostly sunny skies, a high of 77 on Saturday and 76 on Sunday. Now, if you plan to head out to the mountains, we're right at the peak of fall foliage change. We're starting to get into it anyway. High on Saturday of 66 and on Sunday of 68. And if you're planning a road trip down to see the football game on Saturday, kickoff in Clemson, South Carolina will be at 12 noon, and your game time forecast is sunny skies and 70 degrees. So perfect football weather and all around perfect fall break weather.
Sounds great. We're going to do the weather question.
Oh, yep. Did you get to think about it?
I was thinking it was answer C, maybe.
Yeah, it is actually. It's when water vapor forms ice crystals, and that is certainly a possibility over the next couple of nights as we start to really cool down.
Thanks a lot, Kelly. Well, we go now to sports, and Carolina football is doing quite well. Yet another big game for the Tar Heels last Saturday.
Yes, Carolina has definitely been on quite a roll.
Well, the Tar Heels look to make it 4 in a row against Virginia. But first, as we go to break, the Carolina baseball team wrapped up fall practice with a World Series of its own. The inter-squad scrimmage gave Coach Mike Fox the opportunity to see his Heels in game situations. Come spring, returning starters Chris Maples and Russ Adams should solidify the infield, while first baseman Ryan Blake and speedy leadoff man Adam Greenberg can provide the offense. Carolina Week returns after this.
To change the world, you don't have to be rich or famous or play ball or lead countries. All you have to do is tell your family you want to be an organ donor. Talk to your family about organ donation. Talk to your family about donating life.
The steps of Wilson Library receive no sunshine on early winter mornings, so it's chilly there if you don't have that double-shot caramel espresso. Surrounded by forever green magnolias, the steps are a fine place to study, or at least pretend to, while you watch a border collie chase a frisbee in the quad. No one knows the real Carolina like a student. Carolina Week, the student news show.
Welcome back to Carolina Week Sports. The Carolina men's basketball team hit the hardwood for the first time this weekend at the stroke of midnight. But first, 4 years ago, Ronald Curry broke the hearts of many Virginians when he decided to play football for Carolina rather than the Cavaliers. However, heading into Saturday's game, he had never beaten UVA in football. Before kickoff, Curry is honored for becoming the Tar Heels' all-time offensive leader. Running back Andre Williams would get things started with a 7-yard touchdown run, giving the Heels the initial lead. Curry would then take over, throwing a perfect strike to Sam Aiken for a 66-yard touchdown. His play gives the team a 17-10 halftime advantage. Virginia would battle back, but Dexter Reed picks off Matt Schaub in the fourth quarter. Julius Peppers would clear the way with a nice block, and Reed's head 67 yards downfield to pay dirt. Carolina gets its first win over Virginia in 4 years, 30-24. Basketball season is just a few weeks away, and the public got to meet the men's team Friday night at midnight with the Tar Heels. Carolina Week's Doug Crump was there.
'Twas the night before hoops, and outside Carmichael, the fans wanted in to see the college team of Michael. Well, you know he's in Washington now. The banners were hung in the rafters with care in hopes that Coach Doherty soon would be there. When the volleyball net left, there arose such a clatter, students sprang from their seats to see what was the matter. ESPN's Stuart Scott led the events on the court, like a shooting contest for students and the coaches defending the fort. Once midnight struck, after all of the fun, it was time to introduce the team. The season begun. Chris Lang and Melendez, or Sticker and Capel. You seniors will lead and you're certainly capable. Brian Morrison, Adam Boone, 2 sophomores return. A year of experience, now more time to learn. Jawad Williams, Jackie Manuel, and Melvin Scott. 3 names that you'll be hearing a lot. All 3 freshmen impressed the crowd, though their play at the scrimmage was anything but loud. Still, no one would say that their shots were all junk, because they lit up the crowd with their fabulous dunks. Don't forget redshirt freshman Neil Fingleton at all. You simply can't miss him. He's really quite tall. Midnight with the Tar Heels was a sweet success. The students left happy and definitely impressed.
I think they've improved with their quickness a lot. And the shooting's awesome. I mean, they can do it all.
Coach Doherty proved he could excite the crowd, and Stuart Scott returned, as always, Carolina proud.
This is home. Anytime I can come back here, I'm going to come back here.
Midnight with the Tar Heels, worth more than a peek. In Chapel Hill, I'm Doug Crump, Carolina Week.
After beating Florida State 4-1 Friday, the women's soccer team tries to remain undefeated in the ACC against Wake Forest. Carolina takes the lead on a header by Maggie Tameka, but the Heels have trouble finding the back of the net for the rest of the game, despite outshooting the Demon Deacons 18-5. The Heels don't look great in Coach Anson Doran's 499th career victory, but midfielder Jenna Klugel says the team will move on and focus on intensity.
Basically, I think we can just forget about this game and move on, and tomorrow we're going to have a finishing practice to work on finishing our chances. I don't think it was a lack of effort, it was just focus.
The Carolina field hockey team was in a desperate need for some offense after several sluggish games. The Heels came through and blew it up this weekend, starting with a 4-1 win at Virginia on Saturday. Much the same on Sunday against Radford. It would be a very lonely afternoon for Tar Heel goalie Amy Tran. Carolina, however, bombards the Radford net. Here, Carrie Falgowski slaps one in. Tran still relaxing. Not the same for Radford's goalie. She just wasn't left alone by the Heels, now up 4-0. The second half brought more onslaught by UNC, this time by Kerry Lingo. Same result on the other end of the field. In the end, Carolina wins 8-0 while not allowing a Radford shot on goal. Speaking of hockey, the 2001 NHL season is underway, and the Carolina Hurricanes are off to a fast start. They've won 3 of their first 5 games and are sitting in first place in the division. With young offensive talent, some strong goaltending, and an aggressive attitude, the Canes hope to build off of last year's playoff season. So that does it for sports, and although we're going on fall break, the football team heads to Clemson. They need a win to stay in second place.
Thanks, Ben. Autumn in North Carolina wouldn't be complete without the annual state fair. Each year, visitors look forward to a little fair fun.
Not even recent national events could put a damper on this year's celebration. We'll take you to the fair when Carolina Week continues.
For the 1.3 million children living with AIDS, we can do more than just learn the facts about HIV. Through Caring for Kids 101, a campus outreach program, college students nationwide are helping to end this deadly disease. Half of all newly infected people are under the age of 24. Your assignment, get involved with Caring for Kids 101.
Every child deserves the chance to live a healthy life. Support the Elizabeth Glazer Pediatric AIDS Foundation.
When you buy disposable and overpackaged products for your home, you're really saying, I'm fine with depleting natural resources. Pollute our air and water. Energy? Wasted. People tell you, hey, go for less packaging. Check out reusables. Buy stuff in bulk. Well, you tell them, no thanks. I'd rather throw it all away. Buy smart. Waste less. Save more.
In October, the leaves change, the nights get cooler, and thousands turn out for the North Carolina State Fair. There was a different feel to this year's festivities. The fair is now a way of forgetting recent tragic events.
You weigh about 60, 72. Get up there, let's see if you do. And you weigh 73, gotcha.
The sights and sounds of the fair are familiar. Even the food is the same. But there's something different. First-time fairgoer Debbie Nelson believes the fair is some people's way of getting back to normal.
They've come before and nothing happened, so I think they feel secure in coming to the state fair. It's like going to grandma's house for dinner on Sunday. You know, it's just something that everybody does.
Not even the threat of bioterrorism could deter 9-year-old Joshua Franca from coming to the fair.
It just keeps getting better and better each year.
But 21-year veteran vendor Pat Self can see the difference.
It's evident in the amount of people, the crowds are down, but those that are here are excited.
Even the mimes provide hope through laughter.
The State Fair runs through Sunday. For more information about fair hours and activities, log on to our website, www.carolinaweek.org.
That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thank you for joining us, and be sure to watch again next week.
Until then, have a good night and a good week.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.